Hey guys, Creative Destruction here, Big Rose. Just want to say hey, I got a new video series I'm working on about things that I'm grateful for. And what made me want to do it is because I've been feeling really grateful for having a dad. And so I wanted to make a video about that. Some of my thoughts about dads, things that kind of motivated me to make this video. And just want to go over some of the things I'm grateful for with my relationship with my father. Just go over some of that relationship history, and we'll just see where it goes, and then we'll go over some other things in the future. Other things I'm grateful for. So first, I'll say, never really had any problems with my dad growing up. I'm really thankful to say that pretty much all my memories of childhood are really good, and even the bad things that my dad did when I was a kid, a lot of them didn't know they were bad till I was an adult. And that doesn't make it right, but I can see with hindsight some of the mistakes that he made. Parenting, probably being a little too liberal sometimes. Just some of the antics he got up to and how that affected me, especially my brother. And I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that my dad was the greatest person in the world and he didn't make some drastic mistakes. He definitely did, but growing up, my dad was always really kind to me. He was someone who always listened to me. He always respected me, respected my intelligence. Always, I was really into history. I was like a really, especially when I was in elementary. I was a really good student. Middle school, you know how it goes. It's not too hard, but I was definitely smarter than him, and he knew that, but he respected it. But my dad, he really encouraged that in me. He encouraged me to read, encouraged me to watch and study things. Documentaries. We watched a lot of documentaries together growing up. We watched a lot of History Channel and stuff like that, Discovery Channel. Back when they actually showed things about history and stuff about science and animals. So he always encouraged that in me growing up. And I'm really thankful for that. And, he also had a really strong work ethic. I guess one of the hardest parts about my relationship with my dad was that he was gone a lot. He was a trucker, over the road trucker. But he sacrificed a lot for us, and he gave a lot of himself and sacrificed a lot of himself just to be able to make sure that he could make time for us. You know, um, doing whatever he could, make those runs as fast as he could, making sure he could get home on the weekend and have a good time with us. And I'm really grateful for that. I appreciate that. I'd say my bad times with my dad didn't really begin until adulthood, really. Um, as you guys may or may not know, my parents went to prison when I was young for drug use. I don't really want to get onto it too much, but just like so many other people in this country and in the world, my parents were dealing with drug addiction, and they went to prison, and a lot of things made a lot more sense once I knew, because they always just hid it from me. I knew they burned one every now and then, but I didn't realize how serious things got with the drug use, and so I'd say that a lot of the problems with my dad began after he got out of prison, and he started becoming a drinker. But that wasn't really the main problem then. Really, just trying to be honest and direct with him, that caused a lot of problems. He had a lot of trauma. He knew he messed up a lot. And he had a lot of trauma from being in prison. He had to see a bunch of things that people don't want to see. And I'm thankful my dad was a pretty tough guy and that some of those things didn't happen to him because, we all know. And anyway, But in spite of those problems, and even in spite of whatever kind of arguments and problems we had, I could say my dad, he was always there for me to play backup, you know. And on the note, I looked at my board up here. I have some notes written on. I want to say he definitely instilled a work ethic in me at a young age. I was working when I was 13, detasseling. I'm really thankful for that my parents brought me to work. They would go drop me off. My mom would usually, but it was something that they both encouraged. This, you know, I'm grateful for both of my parents. This video, though, is primarily focused on my dad. But they encouraged that, and they respected that. You know, my dad really respected that I was willing to go out there when I was a kid and go out there and tough it out and make some money. He thought that was a great thing. He really encouraged me for that. You know, my parents always let me have my friends over. We always had a good time. We always had good dinners. Always got to play my video games and stuff. I mean, you know, when I was a kid, most of my problems were really... Maybe if my dad would have been around more, he could have encouraged me more to be more physical. You know, I became one of those gamer, overweight kids. But that's not really his fault, you know. I'm the one that made the choice to eat all that food. I'm not going to pin on him. But, you know, things were good when I was a kid. And even, we got in a lot of fights after he got out of prison. But no matter how bad things got, I could always call on him for help if I needed it. You know, financial help. You know, my car broke down. I need to borrow $400 to fix it. I don't have the money until I get paid. And, you know, some parents just throw the money at their kids. You know, my dad was never in the position where he could just give me the money outright. But just because, you know, he's got his own life. He's got a wife. He's got his own bills. You know, he's got his own things going on too. But he was always there to loan me the money when I needed it. I think of a time where I was driving to work. It's 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. Blizzard conditions, minus 20. And I think my tire popped or something was wrong with my tire. And I remember he drove out to where I was, and I couldn't get my tire off because it was literally frozen to the car. It was so cold. And he came out there with a sledgehammer. He woke up after only being asleep for 3 hours, you know. Came out there and helped me out. And he's done that so many times. So many times he's given me a tow, helped me out financially. Even times where I wasn't doing very good, you know, opened his home to me to come and stay there for a little while. When I got back from overseas, I didn't have anywhere to stay. They let me stay there for a couple months while I got all my business in order. And that was a good time, you know. Like, we didn't have any bad times during that time, I'd say. That's another thing. Oh, even on the note of the overseas thing, you know, I'd say me going overseas was my most independent venture I've ever taken part of. I was overseas for almost 2 years. Didn't know anyone there. Was working in China. You know, it was a big ordeal. And I couldn't have even done that on my own. My dad loaned me money to get the ticket. They reimbursed it when I got over there, but I didn't have enough money to even get the ticket. He loaned me money to get the ticket. You know, he took me to go on the flight. You know, my mom let me use her car to go drive and get my certs because it was like in another state, you know, so my car wasn't really up to it. So even my biggest, most independent adventure I've ever had, if it wasn't for my dad's support, you know, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I wouldn't even have the money to do it because the way I was living my life, choices I was making, I didn't have that money. I was taking for granted that I was going to have the money. It wasn't working that summer. Then when I started working, wasn't really making much money. They kept telling me, hey, you're coming next month. I'd quit my job, take a month off. Then they pushed me back another 2 months. Suddenly I needed 2 more months of rent, you know? And I'm really thankful that Dad was there for me on those things. Thankful for having barbecues. You know, it's become a ritual with the family. I like to go over there. You know, they live about 10, 15 minutes away. I like to stop by on the weekend, see what's up, have a little something to eat. Sometimes I bring something I made over there, and we snack on that. Or if I made too much soup or something, you know, too much food, I'll give it to them. I'll go over there, eat whatever I want. You know, they take care of me. Mom and dad take care of me good. I want to say something I'm really grateful for is while me and my dad don't agree on everything, I think on most issues, we pretty much see eye to eye on things. We respect each other's opinions. You know, we've really built a lot of common ground talking about it's like whether political, social issues, religious issues, you know, state of society, interests, things that are funny, you know, good movies, all that kind of stuff. We pretty much see eye to eye on all those things, or if we don't, we can find some common ground, you know. And I'd say that most of the things, most of the conflict I've ever had. Here's a lesson for you guys. Most of the conflict I've ever had with my father involved his abuse of drugs or alcohol, or my abuse of drugs and alcohol, and the consequences of those behaviors. Whether in my case, being stoned, being inept, you know, not taking things seriously as I should, kind of taking people for granted in my own family, or even kind of in a negative way, like I didn't like the people anymore, so I just took them for granted because I was trying to get some kind of advantage out of them because, you know, just had a negative feeling about them, and I felt like they owed me something because they were my family. That was a problem of mine with my dad, you know. I just think he acts like an idiot. When he gets really drunk, he just acts like a total idiot, and I don't like it. It's embarrassing. And that's something he's really worked on a lot. And you know, so if there's a lesson there, don't let drug abuse and alcohol abuse destroy your relationship with your family. I think that's something that's really important. I think people underestimate what they're doing to their relationship with their family a lot of times when they do those things, you know. People wonder, why doesn't my kid talk to me anymore? Or why doesn't my kid want to talk to me anymore? Why does my dad act embarrassed when I come over, you know? Not that he ever did, but just as an example. So just really take that into consideration. Every choice you make affects people that you love, whether they're there or not. And it's something to think about. But I'm really grateful that in spite of all those things that me and my dad have been able to work towards healing. And we have healed a lot, especially since I think one of the big events that really pushed that was just even my grandpa passing away. You know, we're entering the different phases of our life, and you know, it forced us to come together. But yeah, I just want to say I'm grateful for Dad. I'm grateful that we don't argue. Like, I'm so glad that I don't have one of those dads where we go and we're just arguing about politics or something like he does with my grandpa. Or I have other friends that argue with their family about politics or something like. Oh, so we don't really care, you know. Kind of, I guess you could say we're kind of a lolberts in a way, but you know, we're not really like a politically charged family. You know, we're not like a MAGA house or whatever. We're not. We make a lot of Joe Biden jokes around here, but then the Trump jokes sneak in too, you know. Got to make your Trump jokes. A lot of Hunter jokes. A lot of Hunter jokes. You know how it is. That's our boy around here. Anyway, so what made me think about this, to want to make a video about this? I've just seen this pattern a lot, where I'm seeing the net cumulative effect of what happens when people don't have dads. People who are living lives relatively similar to mine, but when their car broke down, they didn't have a dad to come tow their car. Or their dad couldn't come tow their car, because my dad's a jack of all trades. He's been a trucker, he grew up a farmer, he's a Marine. You know, if there's a vehicle, he can drive it. If you can teach him to drive it, we built a house, man. We remodeled a house together. We damn near took apart the whole thing, rebuilt half of it. We built pole barns together. We roofed houses together. I'm really grateful for all those experiences. As I've matured, I've become a bit of a jack of all trades too, and I think I owe a lot of that to my dad, both from him teaching me about those things and just taking that from him because I'm a son. I have that inborn trait as well, and I get that from him. But he really showed me that man can do just about anything if he really wants to, if he wants to put his mind to it. And I've seen him do a lot of stuff. We've done a lot of really cool stuff together. We've cut down trees together. Demolished houses together. Gone on the water together. These are all great things, and I see how bad some people have it when they don't have a dad to get to do any of that stuff with. Where even there's people that have better emotional relationships with their father than I do, but they didn't necessarily get the same keys to success as I did. Not that they don't have keys to success; they probably have all sorts of other keys to success, and they should be grateful for that. That's a beautiful thing. But I'm really thankful for the things that my dad showed me, and recently I'm just things are getting hard, and seeing what's happening with people that didn't really have a dad growing up, and then seeing people that don't have dads to bail them out, seeing people become destitute, people living in squalor. It's kind of, a lot of people don't even have dads at all to come be there for them. Or their dad's incapable to be there for them. Even if they want them to be there for them, even if their dad's not passed away, maybe their dad's not in their life. And I can't imagine a world where my dad wouldn't want to be in my life. I feel like my dad would sacrifice everything that he had to make sure that he could have a life with me in the long run, And I watched him sacrifice a lot of things growing up, and he made a lot of mistakes. I'm not saying he's a perfect dad by any means. I don't know if any such thing exists, but I'm just really grateful that I have a dad, and I'm grateful that he's been there for me, and even despite all our misunderstandings and differences in personalities, I'm still a son, and I respect him a lot. He's probably one of the hardest working men I've ever met in my entire life. Straight up. Tough guy. Puts up with a lot too. Me. Women. Love you, Mom. But, so hey, Dad, if you're watching this, I love you, man. And God loves you too. Don't ever forget that. I know you face a lot of personal battles about your own actions and trying to reconcile who you are now with your past choices. And I want to let you know that God loves you and that forgiveness is always there. The door's always open. And anyway, though, just really thankful for having a dad. So if you don't have the best relationship with your dad, which is very easy to do, A lot of people don't have a good relationship with their dad. I would just encourage you to maybe think about what you are grateful for, what you did get from that relationship with your dad, and try to think of some good times. It's like I'm saying, my childhood was really fun. I had a good time. We played around a lot, driving four-wheelers, go-karts, messing around, cookouts, having friends over, you know, a lot of antics, a lot of really shady, borderline, I don't know if we should be building it this way projects, you know. Remember one time we were hauling a bus up a hill, like a bus full of scrap metal. It was like we were pulling it out of this woods for someone, and he's pushing it up with a payloader, and he turned the payloader off, and then the bus, the bus pushed the payloader back, and then the bus rolled down the hill and rolled through a fence and broke the fence. What an idiot, dude! I got my dad's truck and just went home and left him there. I didn't even get in trouble either or anything like that. You know, probably a lot of other kids would have just got their ass beat. I'm sorry, guys, for that, but my dad knew that he was being a total R-tard on that one, and we had a lot of stuff like that. Like, I don't know if this looks a little shady, Dad. Maybe we need to add one more support board in here, you know? A lot of stuff like that, but, you know. So thanks, Dad, for all the times you helped me with the car. And, anyway, I know I'm going all over here, but, if you're a dad, first I'll say if you have a dad, if your dad's still alive, try to think of something that you're grateful for. Maybe even if you don't like your dad, maybe something happened that pushed you to where you're at now and you're grateful for that. Just, I'd encourage you to do that. Encourage you to be grateful, and, you know, if you have a bad relationship with your dad, try to find a way to, path to forgiveness, you know. I have to forgive my dad all the time. My dad has to forgive me all the time, you know. It's not a one-time thing, you know. It's easy to have misunderstandings. And then, if you are a dad, I hope that you take this message as well, too, that what you do does matter. The time you take to be in your kid's life, it does matter. And if you're not in your kid's life as much as you'd like to, I'd encourage you to make the choice to try to do that, you know. Whatever it takes. I can't imagine not being in my kid's life. And I know it's hard. You know, I can't live other people's lives for them, but that's just something I'm seeing, you know, because if I didn't have my dad to bail me out, I don't know where I'd be. And, you know, you might need to be that for your kid one day too. And, anyways, point being, be grateful for your dad. Be grateful for being a dad. And, work towards improving your relationship with your parents and or children. If you're a dad, you know. Being a dad, I'm not a dad. I'll be real. So it's hard for me to really relate to that. You know. I've been a teacher, but it's not the same, you know. You know, you get to be with them for a while and then they go away. You don't have to have existential dread. For some of my former students, I have some existential dread about, because it's like, man, I hope they're okay. Haven't seen them. I hope they're okay. You know, I got some Chinese kids out there. And I kind of bailed, you know. I don't really want to get into the China experience too much, but this is kind of up and left. And I know that negatively affected some of my students' lives. And so I can't even imagine how it could be if you're a dad. Or if your dad did that to you, like dad just went and got cigarettes one day, disappeared, as they say. Sometimes too, when that happens, if you didn't have the best relationship with your dad, there might be other things going on that maybe you weren't even privy to about why your dad pieced out, why your dad was the way he was. Maybe it just cost him too much to bear those burdens of dealing with maybe your mom was a crazy or something. I don't know. Maybe the pressure was too much. Maybe he wasn't ready to be a dad. Maybe he wasn't equipped to be a dad. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling here, but I just want to say, just in closing, I'm grateful that I have a dad. And if you have a dad, I hope you can be grateful for him too. And if you are a dad, I hope that's something you're grateful for. And I'd encourage everyone to attempt some sort of emotional reconciliation. I'm not telling anyone just to jump back into a toxic relationship if that's what's going on, but do some soul searching, find something to be grateful for, and maybe that could be a basis for reaching out to your dad just to tell him you love him, So, anyway, dads are important. I've seen firsthand what happens when people don't have dads. I've seen what happens firsthand when people's dads are losers, don't take care of their duties. I've seen what happens firsthand, and I've seen the intergenerational effects of this. Bad dad has son. Son is bad dad. Maybe not as bad as his dad. Maybe bad in different ways, And this isn't a call out to anybody, really. It's just how it is, If everyone is honest with themselves, we all have inadequacies that we need to work on. God knows I have tons of them. Part of why I made this channel is to hold myself accountable for that so I can improve and help others improve. So, if you're a dad, if you want to be a dad, take it seriously. Tell your kids you love them. If you haven't seen your kid in a while, tell them you love them. Reach out to them, tell them you love them if you can. If you haven't seen your dad in a while, maybe just reach out to him, tell him you love him too. Tell him, hey, you know what? I know we don't like each other, but I'm really grateful for X, Y, Z. Thank you, Dad. I love you. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and close the video. It'd be awesome if you guys left something that you're grateful for about your dad in the comments. Or if you have ideas for other things that you're grateful for, or maybe other videos you'd like to see me do about gratefulness. Love to hear it, love to see it. God bless all you guys. I really appreciate all the comments. I got 44 subs now. Man, 44 subs. I almost got enough to live stream. So I really appreciate it, guys. Really appreciate all the support, the likes, the subscribes. If you're not liked, if you're not subscribed, like and subscribe. Ding the bell. Send me your checking account number. Send me 10 ounces of gold, Anyway, just playing. Except for liking and subscribing. Definitely do that. And share. But yeah, I'd love to see what you guys' thoughts are. I would love to see what you guys' thoughts are in the comments. And just love to hear from you. Thanks a lot for your time today. I hope this message was meaningful for you. And stay grateful. God bless you guys. Tell your parents you love them. Peace out. Creative destruction.